the stories so real, lifting spirits high. In the rhythm of healing, let our words fly. Mind and body reunited, let's take a step. Cannabis dreams and the light of the sun. We're turning the tide, we're all becoming one. With every new story, our hearts start to mend. In this podcast of life, there's hope round the bend.
Hello, world, and we're back. This is Ryan, aka Crownson's Corner, aka the Healing Chefs. There's a lot of them, just in case we get deleted on IG. But this is the Healing Chefs podcast. Healing Chefs podcast is all about helping each other out and talking about the hard things, so we don't feel so alone. Chef, coming from the word chief meaning leader. Everybody that I have on here, I believe, is a leader in their own way. And today's chef is on IG. I'm gonna mess it up here real quick. It's JC. Do you want to just say your regular
JCW Mama?
JCW Mama.
Yep.
I don't know if everybody wants to ever put out their full name.
Oh,
but-
Jill. No.
Okay. All right.
Jill or JCW Mama?
It's a secret.
Shh.
Yeah, sorry. I just don't.
It's all good.
Recently, I had a friend who does some sort of streaming and stuff like that, and we were online, and I said their full name.
You outed the
And he's like, "Who?"
man.
I'm like, "This person." He's like, "Who?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, thank you very much for coming. So if you could educate the people a little bit about yourself, what you do. Like we've been talking about, like the health experiences that we've been going through.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Well, again, my name's Jill or JCW Mama on Instagram.
Follower.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, so I am an analyst by day and kind of a health enthusiast, also kind of by day. Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like my life has taken a turn to where I needed to kind of refocus on myself
Mhm.
and what I could do to better myself versus the situations that I was in. But yeah, that includes, eating healthier, raising chickens, which I've been doing for years. Yeah.
Nice.
So I've got my own little flock. And I have raised chickens for, as I said, of a number of years. And it's just all about making sure I'm doing what's best for my body. But yeah, analyst by day, so my brain is always going.
Heck yeah, and health and the chickens that had to help when the egg thing happened.
I was like an egg dealer, man.
Hell yeah. Y'all need some eggs.
You're right. Right.
You want to make some cookies, motherfucker? Sorry. So dope. Yeah. So you've been on a really dope health trip and getting better mind, body, and soul. That's really what we're all about here.
Most definitely.
And appreciate you coming. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our first segment, which is cannabis journey. A little. All right. And cannabis journey is all about how you found cannabis yourself, and then like where you're at with it now, how you use it in your life, how great it is. I love it. It's good. It's great.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I found cannabis very, very early in life. Very early in life.
Real quick, just if you guys can see, Shannon's over here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bartender Diaries.
Yep.
But yeah,
My good friend.
moral support. But just those who can see, those listening on Spotify, that didn't make any sense. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. So how you found cannabis? Sorry.
Yeah. So I found cannabis very, very early in life. It was the 90s. I was a teenager. Yeah, I remember. I think it was one of the first times I had smoked. It was at a park in freaking Tempe by ASU. Yeah,
What time of
and
year was it? Like
shit.
like summer, or do you like? Because I only asked that because every time I've ever smoked, especially when I was younger here,
Mm.
and I smoked and it was hot, I just be like, my high would just be like womp womp womp, like even worse. I'm like, oh shit.
I remember it was nighttime.
Okay.
It was
Oh, there you
nighttime. It was
go.
probably fall, but yeah,
Nice.
we're talking like 30 plus years ago. Easily 30 plus years ago. Um but yeah, so that kind of was my introduction to cannabis, and then you just back then you smoked what you could, which was nothing but stems and seeds. Go through and pick them
Yeah,
out.
I
Yeah.
remember all that.
But yeah, smoked very, very early. I remember smoking before a final that I had, and then freaking aced the final.
Hey,
You know.
wait, you get what was that? And how high you like high? If I'm high, whatever high scores.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I if I remember correctly, I scored the top out of that final, and it was a health related final. I was in a magnet program. So, yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
But
I've never. Yeah, I definitely not me.
it was, yeah, I still don't
Dope.
know how I pulled that one out. I was like, let's do this.
Hell yeah,
And
weed for
yeah.
the win.
Yeah. But yeah, so, again, I've been smoking off and on since I was a very young teenager. And then kind of dipped out of it for a little bit, and got back into it, and then also dabbled in some heavier stuff, and
Mm.
then had to completely detox from that.
Hmm.
But really, it was a way. All of that stuff, including food, was a way for me to kind of self medicate, to kind of bury what the pain that I was going through at that
Mm.
time, which was a lot. It was a lot of shit. I went through a lot of shit. People, that know my story, like, you could write a fucking book. Yeah, I could.
Then write it
I could. But
or use AI to help you.
right, right, yeah, yeah, no doubt. But yeah, and then, I found my way back to cannabis after, again, I was in my 20s. Found my way back to it after I stopped completely drinking, cuz I was going out every single night, cuz cannabis, well, it still is kind of taboo.
Mm.
Nobody really wants to talk about it. It's very hush hush. It's more socially acceptable to go out and drink.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's what I did primarily when I was in my 20s. I went out and drank a lot.
Me too. I was in the army in Germany. It was bad,
Yeah.
real bad.
you know, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I just had to kind of stop, and I looked around at the crowds that I was running with, and I was like, you know what? Where do I where do I see myself in, 5 years, 10 years?
Mm.
I don't want to be doing this. So I completely stopped drinking, and
Sorry.
and
Yeah.
would have on social occasions, something here or there, but not to the
Right.
excess that I was having in my 20s.
Mm.
And then, yeah, again, something just clicked. I was like, you know what? I'm done with drinking, period. I'm done with it, period. And then found my way back into cannabis, actually, because of my husband, he had a brachial plexus. He severed his brachial plexus. And so the nerve bundle that's here, so he was in an accident where he severed this, also lost
In his neck.
also lost his right leg below the knee.
Mm.
And he was taking
Wow.
a cocktail that would knock anybody on their ass. So
Yeah, I bet.
Oxy, Soma,
Oh, wow.
yeah, morphine, he all at once, like max dosage every single day. And he was able to function. And
That's
he would
crazy.
have to go into the doctor every day or every month to get tested to make sure that he was actually still using the medication. And I'm like, we started talking. It was like, there has to be
The drug
something
dealers
else.
making sure you're doing the
Yes,
drugs.
yeah, and not selling it.
Oh,
And not,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
and not selling the prescriptions.
oh.
So yeah, we had a conversation, and I'm like, look, you know, what is all of that doing to your body? And so we talked about cannabis, and he had smoked a couple times, and I was like, well, let's think about this.
Mm,
Let's chat about it,
yeah.
and maybe start introducing it as a way to replace the pharmaceuticals that you're taking that are wrecking
Your
your
liver.
liver, yeah, all of your organs. And so we did that. um he got his card, we both got our cards, and he started titrating off of all of his medications, and now he is 100% pharmaceutical free. 100% pharmaceutical free.
Shout out, husband.
Yep. So yeah, that kind of got me, that brought me back to the cannabis world as it is, well, as it was, you know, 10 years ago,
Mm.
give or take, which is a completely different world than what it is right now, than what it was, you know, back in the 90s. Completely different world.
It's even a completely different world than what it was like 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah. So, and now that he's completely off pharmaceuticals, you know, I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? Because I've got a bunch of health stuff going on for myself. And, you know, the doctors didn't have any answers for me at all that I was seeing. And I was having to go and get infusions and multiple tests. And they're like, well, come back, come back, come back, get another round. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And so in 2019, I was like, well, you know what? I can't control really what is going on in my body. So let me see if I can take control with the only thing that I can, which was,
Input.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Exactly. So, um, started using cannabis a little bit more regularly for therapeutically for the pain, which, again, that world, being a medical patient, it looks completely different now than what it did
Mm.
when we first got our cards.
Yeah.
Because when I first got my card, I was using it, again, therapeutically. I was doing like an 8-to-1, a 1-to-1. So I wanted to make sure that I'm getting all of the benefits,
Mhm.
all of the benefits of it. Not just getting and chasing that high like I used to try to tamper down the shit that I was going through when I was younger.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, and
Believe me.
you get it.
Yeah. There's stuff I haven't even talked about yet, but yeah, absolutely, for sure.
But yeah, and so my where I'm at now with cannabis, and I was consuming pretty heavily about, gosh, 18 months ago, again because of, I had another issue with my health going on. I was in severe like, crippling pain. And nothing that they were giving me was helping alleviate the pain.
Never does. It just kind of like,
Yeah. And
like
the
masks it or
and
something.
the cannabis wasn't even helping. I was taking, at my worst, I remember eating a bag of Uncle Herb's Rainbow belts in one sitting, which is like 500 milligrams in one shot.
Sounds
And
fun.
yeah,
Sorry. But that's a
Yeah.
tolerance for sure.
yeah, and still nothing. I mean, I had a family member take me into the hospital because, again, nothing was working. They pumped me full of morphine, and I'm just laying there like, you got anything else? Because this shit is doing fucking nothing.
God damn.
So yeah, it was rough. It was
That's not- yeah.
absolutely rough. I would say probably one of the darkest points in my life.
Shit.
Yeah, like 18 months ago, give or
Well,
take.
I'm glad you made it out of it.
Yes, me too.
Well, I
Most
would.
definitely. Most
So,
definitely.
so with cannabis, um, I would guess you're more like indica, or I mean, you're basing yourself more off of helping yourself on your input and stuff like that,
Yeah,
not just getting high or anything.
right.
And that's okay. Those that like to just get high, you guys can do that. We're talking about something
Yeah, you
different.
know, everybody to each their own.
Yeah.
That's y'all's
I'm
journey.
I'm not there doing the stuff that you like, so who cares what I think anyway. Um, but yeah, so you like, or do you gravitate obviously to like more of like the indica side, hybrid side, or is it just time of day for you?
Well, for me, even so, I only consume now when I am in a metabolic state of ketosis. So, but when I
Intense.
am, it depends on what do I need to do. Even before I started this particular journey that I'm on right now, I was all about what do I need from it?
Mm.
Am I looking for something just to kind of chill and relax, or do I need to get shit done? So I'm a smoke to effect type of
Yeah.
person. And I could show you my list where I have everything cataloged based off of,
What
you
worked for
know,
you and what didn't?
well,
Oh,
no, it goes
oh,
deep. See, this is where the analyst brain comes in.
oh
Uh,
God! You're gonna give me an aneurysm, but go ahead.
no, like
I
I
start to
have
get anxiety. This is why I start counting numbers and stuff, because I'm like, okay, I can control these numbers, but I'm like, this is a test, this is a test, this is a test, this is a test, this
mhm.
is a, and then I could go into this and make this, but sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, so
But yeah, it's to effect for me. So like the list that I have is broken down into, you know, indica carts, indica sativas, indica infused. And then I rate, so I list everything out based on the strain and then I rate it for myself. And then it's the same for sativas. So that way I know, okay, well, I didn't care for this strain, so I'm not going to fucking buy it again.
yeah,
Um, that way, when I go into the dispensary, I can go in there knowing exactly what I want based off of what they have on the menu. And then based off of what their menu offerings are, if it's a strain that I don't know, I can go and research and see, okay, well, what's the terps, what's the lineage,
hmm
um, you know,
oh
and
yeah, if you go to my original page, I don't make any posts anymore because they're just shutting people down on
mm,
IG with weed all the time.
oh yeah,
But I used to like take all sorts of pictures of weed and especially
hmm,
concentrates, and I actually made a move and all sorts of stuff. But like I broke it down to all that kind of stuff and all the effects and whatnot. And I feel like we're getting further and further away from that.
right,
And when I go to a dispensary, I heard someone recently say dispensaries are for tourists. And I'm like, I look around and I'm starting to look at all the different things and all the brands that used to be super good to me and popular and stuff like that are just they're just everybody's losing quality left and right,
right,
and or it's only at the time the only things that are at these places are old or mishandled. I don't know, but it's just like I'm just going like I need to grow. I need to grow my own because
yeah.
this ain't it.
Well, it's funny how you said that you on your old page you used to go in and take pictures and stuff. I used to weigh out like, okay, if I'm buying an eighth, I better see that eighth come up on the scale.
I just did that.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that though.
I did that, and because as soon as I opened this jar, there was it's on a giant stick,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know where y'all are from, but even Snoop uses sticks and shit, and someone's gonna bleed. But like I was like, what the fuck is it? So I broke it down a little bit, and I had a stick that weighed like now it's not that much, but it's like 0.05. That's is this fucking big,
Right.
and that's not much, but
It still adds up.
that's not smokable. But then
Right.
I weighed the next eighth, and it was over. I was like, all right, I'll let it go this time.
You're right. Yeah. So yeah, like I would sit there and weigh everything out. I'm like, okay, well that's short. Let's see if we're gonna have a repeat of this. And if there was a repeat of it, 3 strikes you're out. I'm not buying that anymore.
No. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
next.
Yeah. A lot of things are changing. The whole market, I believe, is falling on its face because they've been trying to do too much of let's bring in everybody else that's ever done any other job selling any other product and they were good at that or whatever,
Yeah.
or they were good at HR and some other aspect or something. And then they try to bring them into the cannabis and then they're like, all right. And then they're just throwing all these analytics and stuff at it. And they're like, why isn't it working? I'm like, because you're not putting the soul into it. Like
Right.
you can't buy, it's not a commodity. Like it's in the love that people give to this stuff. And it's not, you can't put a price on that. I guess I can't. I
No
guess you
stuff.
can.
Well, yeah,
but,
you can put a price on anything,
but
but
it's just changing.
no, totally.
Like we were just talking about, Exhale got shut down. Exhale Society in Tempe got shut down for a little while. We know that's been because it's been in competition and stuff like that. But I don't know. We keep making these little like wins here and there and changing and stuff. I think. Let me get off the negative. I think what's happened is we all used to be underground, right, with cannabis.
Yep.
And then we're like, all of a sudden they legalize it, and we got to come out into the light, right? Everyone's like, all right, let's go. And now we're into the Walmart version in Arizona. And what all that does is it doesn't kill the weed. It just sends all of those people that were in the underground back underground.
Right.
And what happens, that's where all the cool shit happens anyways, is wherever those people go and what they do, because they love the plant and they love what they're doing.
Right.
So
they put their passion into
it's just gonna, it'll change, so don't get too worried. We were here before social media. We'll be here after. Like shit, I don't know, we worry about too much, but let's go ahead. Thank you for that. We're gonna go ahead and jump into our next segment, which is Trip Tales. Awesome. Sorry, just trying to keep it moving along. I'm pretty high myself right now, so I took a fat dab of some stuff I got, and as soon as I opened it, it was old. Oh my God. Universe tests us. Did you have anything else you want to say about cannabis real quick? Sorry, I kind of cut it off there.
No, you're all good. It's all good.
All right. And we'll have you back in the future too, because I don't plan on stopping this anytime.
Awesome.
I can't be canceled. You can even stop all sorts of stuff, but I'll find another way.
Right.
Like water, I'll find another way. So Trip Tales is all about psychedelic experiences, news, and whatnot. Like recently they were talking about MDMA as a treatment for PTSD that didn't go through. They're gonna have to repackage that, but psilocybin, ketamine is what helped me out.
Mm-hmm.
Some people use even cannabis, like edibles in large doses, are very much riding the same rails as psychedelics. So do you have any experience in any of that stuff? Or
So I've never knowingly done any psychedelics at all. But I have had a few trips in my time. Yeah. So one of them was right after I had completely detoxed of the heavier shit.
Yeah.
And I was at a party, and I think I was like 18, but I was at a party and thought it was weed that I was smoking, and it was not. I don't think it was, because some of the shit that I saw was
crazy.
Pretty
so you don't even know what you took?
No, I do not.
I have no idea either.
I have no clue. All I know is like
PCP or some shit.
I saw my father, or an image of my father, who I'd never met before. Yeah.
Yeah, you were
yeah.
locked in.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I swear to God.
It- so
yeah.
yeah, that was quite the experience, and I remember getting home at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and my grandmother, or my adoptive mother, my grandparents adopted me when I was very, very young. I remember she saw me walking through the door, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I will be. I will be." And yeah, so that night was insane, absolutely insane from what I remember. Um,
Yeah, that's something that happens a lot with psychedelics, and the more that and I don't know, I may eat some later. That's kind of thing I do. But it I've noticed a lot, like you said with the connection. They showed you an image of something you've never seen. I constantly now speak with the universe,
mhm.
and as crazy as that may sound, if you think it's too crazy, you can watch something else. Um, listen to something. But I literally, like, I'll be like stressed out about something,
Mm,
and I'll go, and then I'll ask whatever it is that I'm asking,
gotta like center yourself.
and I listen, and I just shut up. For at first, like, my brain's going off, like, I need to do this, my brain this, and then I quiet it because something's like, just shut up. And I was quiet, and then it just comes to me. I'm like I was stressed out about a payment on something recently, and I'm like, what? And then it's like, it's coming tomorrow, relax. I'm like, where the I'm like, is it the government messing with me, man? I'm like, or am I talking to the universe? And literally, like, there's just so many times that that's happened, and the exact thing that I've thought happened, or I've seen it, and it's weird because I've seen things that I haven't seen.
Right.
And I don't.
Hit a button by mistake.
It's okay. We're tripping, folks. Trip tails. We're
Still in it.
We're still in it. In the pocket, folks. In the pocket. But yeah, I speak to the universe quite a bit. Psychedelics. And it's also every time I take psychedelics or have a high dose of edibles and kind of ride those rails, I'm reminded how to be in more touch with my body.
Mhm.
It talks to me about food.
Yep.
Because if you've ever been on psychedelics, or, well, maybe not weed, we don't get you to eat anything, but psychedelics for sure. All of a sudden, you try to eat like a McDonald's cheeseburger or something like that, and the first bite in your body's like, that's a pillow, that's not food. What is that? That's not like, my brain just starts firing,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, that's not food. So that's something, and people trying to microdose. That's something to think about for you guys in the future. Maybe microdosing or something to maybe handle those stresses in your life. But don't try to. I'm tired of like hearing stories of people trying to get on planes, and
Oh
then
shit.
that, or also for those that are uneducated, you haven't done anything on purpose.
Right.
For the love of God. Don't go to these smoke shops and buy those chocolate bars in there, because that's not real shrooms. So what
Right.
that is Amanita muscaria. Amanita muscaria is the Santa Claus mushroom, like the mushroom that you see in all sorts of emojis, animations, the red and the white dots. Enough of that'll kill you. So what they have, that it's extract of that mixed with other things to make you trip. People are unaliving themselves and all sorts of crazy shit with that. So don't do that. But I'm just trying to help people, warn people, don't do it. I didn't do it. I just, because I got the real thing. But yeah, so psychedelics nowadays, hopefully we get a little more treatments coming for people. But thank you for sharing your little trip with us. That's super crazy. Watch out for the Diddies of the world.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Trying to medicate us. It's they tried it with me. All right, so we'll go ahead and do this little break. Or matter of fact, because I edit this, we can go ahead and jump into mental health as well. We're not live anymore, so I forget what I'm doing. All right, so mental health is wealth. Something that we've kind of been hinting at throughout all of this with cannabis, psychedelics, all that stuff. Working out for sure for me recently um, is has been one of the coping mechanisms that I've been using.
Yep.
Like I said, I also use numbers when I'm stressed out and I can't control things. I can control those numbers.
Have you
But-
heard of the 5 4 3 2 1
Yes.
method? Yeah.
Please say it though.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to fuck this up. So the 5 4 3 2 1 method is you focus on 5 things you can see.
Oh, okay. No, I don't.
Well, what were you? Where were you going?
So there's a lady that had a video. It's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you do something. Or you're either going to do it in those 5 seconds, or you're not
Okay.
going to do it. I mean, that's the truth.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Gotcha.
So every time you're feeling like, I don't know, I'm not going to do it, just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 your ass, and then do it. Because otherwise, if you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're not going to do it, you're just not going to do it ever. So it's like
Right.
fucking you're just tricking your brain. These brain
Right,
tricks. But
right.
Sorry, go ahead. What's
Oh,
yours?
No, so you were talking about how you count. So the 5 4 3 2 1 method, it's, focus on 5 things. Again, I'm probably going to screw this up. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And so whatever, if you're having a moment, if you do that, it kind of brings you back.
Oh, okay. So another way like of grounding yourself.
Yes, another way to ground yourself. So
yeah.
again, I probably fucked up the order, but yeah, that's research it, people. Do all the research, people.
And do whatever works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's another thing with working out and everything. It helps me out so much mentally more than I mean physically too, but more mentally than anything, because it teaches me in my life when I don't want to like clean or do the one thing, it's still my set. I still got to go. When I'm just having a hard time pushing through something, the gym reminds me like you pushed yourself through that, and you push yourself through this.
Most definitely.
Pain is always there. It's just what you do with it.
Right.
So with working out for you, how has it helped your mental health, and how do you stay on that?
So, like, as I said in the earlier segment, I was going through a lot of shit physically 18 months ago. My body was staging a full-on rebellion, and there were no answers. I was basically bleeding internally. Yeah. So, and nothing at all was helping. And so I remember I was on FMLA from work, and I happened to jump on Instagram, and I caught a doctor who was live from hiking from a mountain, just talking. And me, I had smoked, a bowl beforehand. I'm like, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and things just kind of clicked. And she was talking about, getting into ketosis, the nutritional state of ketosis, fasting, and what she's doing, what it's done for her body. And I was like, you know what the fuck else do I have to lose? So, and with that, I, immediately dove in, cannonballed into that world. And so I started practicing ketosis, not the keto diet, but the nutritional state of being in ketosis. And so what that is like a 3-to-1 fat to protein, nutrition wise. And then I cycle in and out of that every single week. So I have my cheat meal like once a week,
Mhm.
where I intentionally throw myself out of it. And then I immediately hop back in by busting my ass in the gym.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If I eat this, I know I'm paying for it right here.
Yep.
But I know I'm going to pay extra because I'm going to eat this.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, and that just kind of started me down this whole path that I'm on right now. And with the ketosis, with the fasting, and with all of that came the clarity, came my body started changing, and the ailments, the things that were impacting me, that caused me to be at that horrible, horrible state. I mean, Shannon fucking knows how bad it was.
Mm.
I was walking around with a cane. It was
Yeah.
that bad. It was that bad. And just the other week, I hiked to the fucking top Camelback Mountain 18
I
months later.
literally dropped off concentrates because she was in so much pain.
Yeah.
Eating 500 milligrams.
Yeah.
I could not, and the pain was impacting my sleep. So I was going, I mean, I want to say it was probably 2, maybe 3 weeks, an hour of sleep a day. And sleep deprivation will fuck you up big time.
I'm a veteran who's lived, like, I don't barely sleep, and I see shit sometimes. Like, if I don't get enough sleep, I start seeing shit. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like monsters or demons, just like flashes out of, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like there's a fly on the wall, and then you look and there's no fly. You're like, oh God.
Yeah. No, I was in a full, it wasn't like a manic state. I was in a full state of psychosis at that time. It was that bad. The pain and the pain induced insomnia. I was literally going nuts.
You had to try to, I can't even think of the word right now, and I do it a lot. Disassociate.
Yeah.
I can't even think of it. Like, I left my body there for a second. I'm like, let me go look it up real quick. I came back. Oh, disassociate. Literally, let me do it real quick. Yeah. Like, and then we learn with all this stuff that, like, as we're starting to get better and stuff, that everything that we do
Mm-hmm.
is to create comfort in some
Oh,
form
yeah.
of fashion. So we're like, so I'm like, sometimes when I get those cravings for the bad food, I'm like, no. You want to get high, my guy. You want to go get that cheap, shitty food that's going to give you that dopamine, that fucking raise, and you're going to be like, oh, it feels so good. But then afterwards, you know how bad you're going to feel.
You're gonna crash.
You know how bad you're
gonna
going to
crash.
feel. That is not food. That is fake fun. But
Yep.
But we can do fake fun once a week. Once a week, everybody.
But yeah, so where I was at that point, I was desperate. I was absolutely desperate. It was, as I said, one of the darkest periods of my life that
Mhm.
I would not wish on my worst enemy at all. I mean, to be in the mental state that I was, it was not a good place. It was not a good place to be.
Mhm.
And then once I started going through and cleaning up the diet and started working out, as I said, things just started changing and shifting, and my body started repairing itself.
Mhm.
Like, when you give your body the proper tools, it's amazing what it can do. It's absolutely amazing what it can do when you give it the proper tools.
We all forgot you are what you eat.
Yeah.
We all forgot.
Yeah.
It's because we've grown up with Happy Meals and shit like that,
Mhm.
and we've tied
And
happiness.
Dunkin' Donuts.
We've tied
and-
happiness and all sorts of stuff with food.
Oh yeah. Well,
So when you're feeling sad, I can go get some McDonald's and I'll feel better. No, the fuck you won't.
well, think about it. Most celebrations are all tied around food.
Every fucking day. I'm sorry. Every day isn't. I can cuss. I don't know why. Every fucking day is National Donut Day, National
Yeah.
French Fry Day. They're like, eat, motherfucker, eat, feed,
Well,
fiend.
it's funny, like even being at the gym and on the treadmill. So when I go to the gym Monday through Friday, I'm there like super, super early.
Me too.
And so I'll zone out to either a podcast or something, some video, or I'll just stare at the TVs, and you can sit there and count. Okay, there was a weight loss drug. There was, a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. There was a Popeyes commercial. Oh, and here was another weight loss drug to sell you all the because you ate all that stuff.
And then the what is it? Zantac.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got Larry the Cable Guy. I eating corn dog and French fried and fried chicken. Then I take Zantac.
And then
so I can eat whatever the fuck I want. Fuck my body.
And then because you might have side effects from that, you got to take something else.
Yeah. Oh fuck. I don't even like taking aspirin. I'm telling you the truth, because even in the Army, they had my back went out on pills and shit. And, no, we're not getting into all that right now. But yeah, no, none of that food. Your mind becomes clearer. You can handle shit more.
Oh yeah.
Because you're putting yourself into a state of stress when you're working out. So like when you become in stress later on in your day, you're like, oh yeah, I already handled this shit earlier and it wasn't a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Because a little bit later, I just sat down and then all of a sudden I felt good again. So yeah, it's like working out. Everybody try working out.
Well, not only that, not just working out, but so many people they're stuck inside their homes. They don't get outside enough. They they don't expose themselves to the sun.
I don't expose myself. That's for sure. That you heard it here first, folks. Sorry. Yeah, don't go to the sun. They don't get that vitamin D.
Yeah, exactly. And vitamin D, well, and then going back to the nutrition part, because of what I do, they're like, oh, aren't you worried about the fat? Aren't you worried about the cholesterol? No.
Your brain works on cholesterol, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's something they don't even tell you.
Yeah, exactly. And so in conjunction with sunlight, so I'm outside every morning for the sunrise. I'm greeting the sunrise because the light that you're getting from the sun at that hour is basically telling your body, hey, it's time to shut off the melatonin. It's time to wake up. And then I'm outside during my lunch hour getting sun while I'm out there. And I use an app to, track how long I'm supposed to be out there, because people are like, oh, well, I burn when I go outside. Well, yeah, but you're not.
It's like the infomercial shit. I don't know how to use this pan, and then they give you a regular pan. They're like, oh wow, I just just because you do it wrong doesn't mean it's not something that helps.
Right? Yeah. So in the way I've explained it to somebody, it's people think it's either all or nothing. I either need to go outside and
stay out there forever
until, I get all red and blistery.
Hell yeah.
No,
way to go.
You gotta build, the layers up, man.
Yeah.
And
you gotta have layers of blisters, people.
Oh, no.
That's just kidding. People are just ridiculous. There's like, I try to, we talk about our workout and stuff like that. And then people are like, why do you do that? That hurts you. That's not, you shouldn't do this or that. I'm like, everyone does one thing and they're a goddamn expert, and I fucking shut the fuck up. I do a bunch of shit and I'm not an expert in a damn thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know what an expert is, to be honest. But that's another thing I wanted to talk about real quick though with mental health, is being honest. Like I had a moment this week recently when I was at a dispensary, and I saw someone that I worked with when I first came into the industry. And she's like, how you doing? And instead of like being honest and like talking to her, what I did was what everyone else does. Oh, I'm good. I've been good. The fuck I have been. I'm like, I'm sitting there the rest of the day. I'm like, man, you had a moment to be honest with these people and just have a human moment. But you just like, you're still in that scared mental state of putting that wall up.
Right.
And I was like, man, I could have probably pulled them in if I just would have just said, actually, I've fallen on my face a shit full of times. I'm struggling right now, but today, right now, standing in front of you, I'm great.
Right.
But instead I said, I'm good. And I almost want to cry about it right now.
Well, and most people don't talk
No.
about the state that they're in. So I had, so 2019 was a rough year for my family. We had a lot of deaths. Both of
Sorry.
my parents, or my adopted parents, my maternal grandparents, they passed within 7 months of each other. In between that, my cousin took her life.
Geez, sorry.
And so, but you to look at her, like, you wouldn't have known. You
Mm.
would not have known. It came as a complete shock.
Mm.
So, I tell people, it's whatever you have to do to, because your demons are going to be there.
Mm.
Whatever you need to do to not suppress the demons, but just start talking about them, talking to them.
Yeah.
you
I
know,
talked to him.
Even if it's a good friend, if it's a therapist, if you gotta talk about it, and people need to learn that I hate to say it, but it's okay to not be okay and say, you know what, I'm having a moment. I'm having a moment, man.
One of the best analogies I have is I don't know, what is it, like a buffalo or something like that? It's the only animal that when there's a snowstorm walks into the snowstorm.
Mm.
It's because that's the quickest way the fuck out. And it's hard because I've been in that situation. I've had those feelings and those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say that on the outside, feeling how I do right now, to tell someone like that. But I talk to my demons on a daily basis nowadays, because with the ketamine therapy that I had, I can address these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, like I recently had somebody in the community. I did that. In the community, started getting aggressive with me, and my old self would have went like, all right, motherfucker, we got one, tap in, all right. And I would just go the fuck off and just start
Right.
posting and do this and talking shit, and I'm like, I'm gonna do. But the thing is, as crazy as I am, I'll back the shit up and end myself into a real bad situation. But more like I'm on diversion right now,
Mm.
so we're being good. But also, I've had a lot of people like try to threaten me and like talk shit to me and then tell me that they want to beat me up, and then I'm like, okay, let's run that shit. I'll talk to I'll introduce you to my demons. And then they're like, well, I'm not gonna go there, I'm not gonna beat you there. I'm like, what? I'm not hand delivering this ass whooping to you, son. If you hate me and want to beat me up, come get it. But so now, instead of playing that game again and being that angry person and trying to be super masculine and all that other bullshit, he yelled at me, and I'm like, oh, it's you again. Because I didn't see him, I saw that demon. I saw that demon in me. I'm like, oh, it's you again. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
we're not doing it this time. That's your insecurities coming out,
Yep. Most definitely.
and me responding to you would be mine coming out. So no.
See, this smart ass in me be like, are you doing okay?
Right.
You-
See, but that's another thought I had. Because I started going in on him even after the fact, and I'm like trying to like come at him from a moral high ground into an
Right.
argument. I'm like, you're doing the same thing,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop it.
Right.
And I stopped. And that was a moment for me. And then I keep having these little moments and getting better and stuff like that. But it's taken a fucking lot. And I wish I could have just been honest with that person before and told her, like, this shit, like, I just want to be honest with people so they don't feel so alone. Be like, oh shit, yeah, life sucks sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, in what I've realized is that, yeah, when people come at you, it's not really about you. It's about them, and they might be projecting
Oh, yeah.
something. So you have to kind of take a step back, and this is where, the higher self in me is like, okay, let's not react.
Mm.
Let's not react. Let's take a pause and see, okay, they obviously have some shit going on, and we'll just let them deal with that. We're not going to engage.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to engage at all, because what that does is it feeds into it.
It does.
It totally feeds into it. And then you have this vicious cycle going on that sometimes can be never ending.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, believe me, if you know me in this industry, you know I got one speed and it's go. And I'm just so fucking proud of myself lately, because there's been 2 times, like, one, I really let myself go and I'm like, shit, fail. Okay, it's gonna come again. The lessons, universe is gonna send this shit right back to me.
around again.
It's coming back around, and it hit me, and I'm like, oh. Now I slipped a little bit, but better than the last time, and I'm proud of myself for that. So the next time we're gonna read the shit and go,
Just don't react.
yeah. So
Like, next.
yeah. So we're on our way, folks. But it's been a struggle, because I've always been kind of the protector of, like, my sister growing up, of my friends, and because I've always been the bigger person or whatever, and it's hard nowadays to keep my mouth quiet when I'm trying to, like, help people, because just some people just don't want help, and they're just like, shut up.
No.
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, well, okay.
Well, and that's
And
the
I have
thing.
to be okay with that.
Exactly. That's the thing that you have to realize, is that it's not up to you to save somebody else. They have to realize that only they have the power to save themselves. And they've always had the power. Just they don't realize it, or they don't want to realize it. Or they're not ready. They're not ready to go down that route yet. So, but for me, when I get like that, I'll go and if I'm at home, something's happened, I'm just like, oh, no, we're not going to respond to this email, Jill. We're going to take a moment. We're going to walk away, and we're going to go for a walk around the block is what we're going to do.
I would walk the fuck out of that block. I'm like, block, you better be ready. I'm gonna.
Yes,
we're walking.
yes. Let's hit the pavement.
What are you doing? I'm walking right now.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I do for myself. And if that's why me going to the gym in the morning is so important, Monday through Friday, because I have a regular 9-to-5 job, and getting that in first thing in the morning sets the tone for my day and
regulates your hormones, all the endorphins shit helps out too.
Yep. And then I come home once I do my crazy long ass workout, which is I do my zone 2 training every single morning, and then after that I immediately hit the weights. It's either upper day or lower day. So like this morning I went and knocked out my zone 2, and then went and met Shannon up at another gym. And we did lower day, which I still say she's going to hate me. She's not. Oh. She's going to be cursing my name.
No, because it's what I need,
Oh, yeah. You say that now.
Right?
You say that now. I said, man, oh, God. Yesterday was like, I woke up right after doing leg day on Friday, and Saturday morning, I'm
walking around like a baby giraffe.
I'm like walking. I get up. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. Doing a little bit. I get a little shower because the hot water, and I'm moving around all right. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go run and get a couple things, and then I'm gonna actually do some running today. And then a couple hours later, it started to lock up on me, and I'm like,
oh,
we ain't doing none of that.
Yeah, no. When I hiked Camelback the other weekend, I was like, oh yeah, that was an experience. That was a complete, like, just out of body experience, because you here in the valley, you're like, shit, that's a fucking tall ass mountain. Never in a million years did I think I would ever make it up to the summit of Camelback. And so going,
well, way to go, you.
I gotta stop. And I had to stop quite a few times, but made it to the helicopter pad, which I didn't even know that there was a helicopter pad up there.
I didn't either, because I haven't been.
But yeah, made it up there, and I was like, okay, I made it here. And I had a friend with me who was my little mini mountain goat. And I'm like, okay, she's like, do you want to go further? And I said, I'll go as far as my body will allow me to go. And once you get past
That's
the
probably not a good idea, folks. People are dying going hiking.
Yes,
Don't-
dude, take
whatever-
water.
Take a helicopter, folks.
I can't
Shit.
tell you how many people we
It's always
saw.
some white person. It's okay. It's our word.
But yeah, no, if you're going to do something like that, if you're not used to the heat, one, take water, be prepared. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many people I saw going up there with just, little 16-ounce bottles of water. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And there was a guy when we got up to the summit, older dude, he was like in his 70s. I was like, holy shit. And he's walking around saying, hey, does anybody need water? Anybody need water? And he obviously has been doing this for decades, but just be smart. If you're going to do something like Camelback, be smart about it.
People don't drink water anyway.
No, people do not drink water, and they should.
Yeah,
They
and that's part of the
should.
problem with some of your anger too. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into the last. It's part of mine sometimes. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into the last segment, which is Plug Talk, and we're just gonna promo all where you can check us out. And we're back. Sorry, all I can think about is food right now. So Plug Talk is all about promo, where people can find you. Obviously, like IG, all that kind of stuff. If you want to introduce them to any of the things that you work out or where you work out and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
whatever you want to do. Now's your time. Anything you haven't said, now's the time to say it.
yeah, again, you can follow me on Instagram, JCW Mama. If you want daily motivation, I'm there. That's what I do. That's what I do is I'm there to motivate that and, teach people about or show them how I live my life, what I've done to improve my life, which is the ketosis, the fasting, the exercise, the sun, getting the sun. So, and then refeeding to kind of break the cycle of ketosis and then immediately getting back into it with making sure I bust my ass in the gym. But yeah, and the provider that I have been following with this is Courtney Hunt, an MD. You can find her on Instagram as well. I did genetic testing through her company called Genetic Protocol, which
So you're like a super soldier now?
Yeah. Well, it was eye-opening. It was absolutely eye-opening. And when I did the testing, I was like, oh, well, I don't know my paternal side of the family, so I can find out hopefully some information there. And oh my God. Yeah. I found out through the genetic testing, I had like 51 mutations out of 110 panel that I took at that time, 51 different mutations. So, but with that, I learned, no, I'm not like an X-Men.
Fuck.
Even though I have the rogue hair gray going on.
I already knew where I was going. I'm like, yeah, what superpower?
But yeah, so through Genetic Protocol, I learned about all the genetic mutations that I obtained through, both sides. It showed me, was it one or was it both parents? And yeah, 51. And then what I could do to help mitigate some of those. So all the supplements that I can take to help offset those mutations that I have. So that, and then I mentioned about the sun and how important that is, the DMinder app. I also, something that you might want to think about as far as your fitness journey, is getting a DEXA scan with body composition.
No, I know what you're talking about. Well, but I'll be ready for that when I'm ready for that.
So
I've already changed the composition of my body enough, but I'm not. No, not ready yet.
Yeah. Well, when you get there, like that showed me, getting that scan done showed me that, yes, I am carrying X amount of visceral fat, which I'm working on with the diet, with the nutrition, and with the exercise. It also showed me how much bone mass I'm carrying, and it also showed me how much lean muscle mass I'm carrying. So yeah, I didn't know at the time when I first had my first scan, I had like 115 pounds of muscle, and now I'm gaining. I'm at like 118 pounds of muscle.
That's
So
dope. Yeah, I appreciate that. I try to keep mine pretty vague until I get to a certain point,
mhm.
and then when that little bottom part of my bottom, my belly, my bottom, brain talking take two, the bottom part of my belly. Once that
Mhm.
starts to tighten up, then I start getting more serious and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've already lost a bunch of weight and stuff, but
Mhm.
it just needs to reel it in.
Yep.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that in the future. But
Yeah.
I keep it vague so I keep myself motivated.
Right. Well, for me, like getting that data helped me realize, okay, what do I need to tweak? What do
Mm.
I need to work on? And so with this last one, um, I realized you're doing too much hit. You need to focus on zone 2.
Mm.
So I've been focusing on that, and right now I'm on day 69, dudes. Uh, of my 75 medium challenge that I did. So I'm almost there. I'm almost at the finish line.
69 420. Ha ha ha. All right. I was still a 90s kid. So
Right,
yeah,
right, yeah.
with the S and then the 6
Yep.
line. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I very much God, Ryan talking take 3. I very much appreciate. I don't know why I started speaking like that, but you coming in. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Jill.
for
Thank you,
having
Shannon,
me.
for coming along. But thank you very much for sharing everything, Jill. Like she said, follow her at Instagram at JCW
Mama.
Mama MAMA.
With love and compassion, we'll find our way. From the battlefield to a brighter day. With love and compassion, we'll find